folks. This is Ross Fleming speaking, and I'm speaking from the home of Mr and Mrs Amos Burling at Nakusp, BC. And now, when did, where were you born, Mr. Burling?
England.
You were born in England. Well, England's a pretty large place. Where?
Banbury.
Banbury.
Yeah.
And what county is that in?
Oxford. Oxford.
Oxford, oh yes. And what year would that be?
1883.
1883. Well, you're 2 years older than I am, so we're pretty close to the same age. When did you, what was your occupation there? When did you leave there?
Labouring.
You were a labourer?
Labourer, yeah.
And how old were you when you left England?
Well, around about 27.
1927. Oh, yes.
Oh, no, I was 27.
You were 27. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I'll be around about 1910, I think.
Oh, yeah. Had you served in the army?
Yeah, in the Oxford.
I see. Had you served overseas?
Yeah, I went with a 54.
Which?
54 Battalion.
54th from here. Oh, yes. From this district. Well, and where did you come to when you left England?
Needles.
Needles. And why did you come to Needles?
A fruit ranch.
You wanted a fruit ranch.
Yeah.
See, where did you find out about the fruit ranches?
Bush.
From Bush?
Bushland.
From
London, England.
From London, England.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, an agency there.
Yeah.
And you were looking to emigrate, and you thought you would like to be a fruit farmer.
Fruit farmer.
I see. And how far did you get on fruit farming?
No,
Not very far.
not very far.
Not very far. Well, now we'll just turn to Mrs. Burling now and get the beginning of her story. Where were you born, Mrs. Burling?
In Nottingham, England.
Nottingham, England. And when did you come to Canada?
1920.
1920.
Yeah.
And were you with your parents or with...
When I came,
Yes,
no, I came with my daughter.
I came with your daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, you had...
Lost my parents.
I see. And had you lost, did you lose them during the war or
Well, no, after.
after the war?
Yeah.
I see. And you had been married in England and you came out...
Out here.
I see.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
1880.
1880, I see. And what year did you come out to Canada?
1920.
1920, oh yes. And where did you come to?
Straight to Nakusp.
Straight to Nakusp. I see.
Yeah.
You've been living in Nakusp ever since.
Yeah.
I see. What was your first husband's occupation?
He was a scaler.
He was
Yeah.
a scaler. Oh, I see. I see. You both came out together.
No, I came out after.
Oh, you came out
yeah,
after.
Yes.
Oh, he preceded you.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, that's he was a scaler and he was in the lumbering business. What firms did he work for? Do you know?
Quant.
The Quants.
Lumber.
The Quants lumber. Oh, yes. I see. And well, now, when did you marry Mr. Burling?
Right here. In the
Thir-
truck. 25.
1925.
Yeah.
I see. Well, when did you come up to? Did I ask you when you came up to Nakusp from Needles?
In 20.
1920. And you're a labourer. Well, now, what were the conditions around here? Well, that is fairly, when you came up in 1920, that is fairly recent. It didn't get back into the...
No, wasn't very much doing at all.
Not very much doing.
No,
No
just
light,
a small
no
amount.
water.
No, like...
Yard.
Oh, I see.
Bit of road work, that's all.
I see. Not much in the territory. And
This was all bush
this is all bush.
when I came here.
That's all.
Yeah.
And
Just one house up above, and that's all.
is that a fact?
Mrs. Coates'.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
In this part of this particular part of the district.
Yeah.
And how did you otherwise find the conditions? Were there very many people here? What
Oh,
did they-
no, not
very-
many. No.
And,
No. There was just the old hospital down below, and that's about all.
I see.
No houses here at all.
Is that so?
No schools. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
You couldn't get up to the canyon only through the bush.
I see. Well, that takes us back to the undeveloped portion. When did it start to pick up around here? What was it? The lumbering that brought more?
Well, that's
settlement?
been more.
The Second World War. The Second World War, and then it started to pick up here.
It started to pick up during
Yeah.
the Second World War. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is the reason for that? The demand for lumber, or what?
No, I expect it was for lumber, they wanted lumber.
Yes. Have you had any hobbies? Have you been fond of hunting or fishing, or
No.
no? Just
Too hard of hunting up here.
yes.
I usually hunting down below, but not since I've been up here.
No, I see.
Not since I come back from overseas.
No, I see. Mm-hmm. You came back all in one piece, did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I come back in 1919, 22nd of May.
That's all.
Yeah.
The 54th. Well, have you ever been to any of the 54th reunions
Oh,
in
yeah.
Nelson?
Yeah.
You have, eh?
Yeah.
I was up at one of them. I recorded it one year. I forget now what year it was, but I recorded one of their reunions
In
Nelson. Yes.
Oh, well, I haven't been in the Nelson for some time.
Oh yes, I see.
The last one that I was at was up in Caslow.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's interesting.
No, I don't go out now. The wise file, so
Mm-hmm.
we
Yes.
don't.
You're a regular homebody.
Yeah.
Has there been any happenings extraordinary happenings around here or fires or accidents or anything like that you have had any connection with?
No.
No, I've never had.
No.
Well, now, Mrs. Burling, can you think of anything that might be interesting to people on the outside?
I know it was pretty quiet when I came up here.
Yes.
Nobody around.
And did you miss it from...
Coming from the city.
Coming from the city.
Yeah,
And
I sure did.
you missed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But you gradually got accustomed to it, I suppose.
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
you'd have your circle of friends, and after all, when you have friends, you feel at home.
There wasn't many friends in
Not
those
very many
days.
friends in those days.
No, they were just
Uh-huh.
myself and my daughter, and
Mhm.
she used to have to take pails of water down to the well.
Is that so?
And as my husband came home from work, he used to fill them and bring them home.
Oh,
And
yes.
then she used to go down again at supper time and fill them again.
I see.
You
And
used to
then he
save
would
all
carry
your-
them home.
Save all your dish water and wash water
Oh,
for your
yes.
garden
Yes, I see.
because there was no water around.
Yes, well, that's quite interesting.
Mhm.
That brings us back to the
I don't know what.
early days, all right.
Yeah.
And you'd have coal oil for light and so on like
Yeah,
that.
it's just a light.
Mm-hmm.
And I came right to this house, but
You come right to this house.
it was only like a little shack.
Oh, I see. You've added quite a bit to it since.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Amos has done it.
Yes,
A lot of it.
yes. Well,
Fixed the grounds up and everything.
mm-hmm. Now, in the early days, there was quite a community spirit, I think, in most of these places.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you want to do anything or anything was to be done of a public nature,
Oh, yeah.
there was a lot of volunteer labor was
Yeah,
in
volunteer
that.
labor, yeah.
Well, now I suppose you have taken your part in that work.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me of some of the jobs that you've been on that were volunteer labor? For instance,
Well, of course, I was on the Legion Hall.
oh, you're on the Legion Hall.
Oh, yeah.
I see. Quite a bit of
And on the skating rink.
the skating rink too.
Yeah.
I see. And then I think you're saying that there is an accident in regard to the skating rink.
Yes.
What happened to it?
That fell in.
It fell in.
Yeah, so it's now been done.
What made it fall in?
Well, they put the girders up, you know, the wooden girders, you
Yes.
see, there, and then they put 2x10s and then boarded her in, and then they put rubber eyes on,
Oh yes, I see.
and that's it.
Oh yes.
And then down she went.
Well, there was a
The wind.
snowfall or something, was it?
No,
No snowfall, just the wind.
but wind, just a bit of snow. that's all.
Oh, I see. I see. But
I haven't got the money to finish her straight up, you see.
oh, I see.
They just put the skeleton up
Oh,
and
yeah.
put the two ends up afterwards.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. And before they put up the ends, why...
Well, they put up the ends afterwards
oh, yes.
and got it all fixed, the rubberized on, and getting it ready for skating. And then down she went.
And the wind
Yeah.
blew it. Was it a heavy wind?
More, nothing extra.
Nothing extra, eh?
No.
Wow. Mhm. Well, that is quite a loss.
yeah.
I suppose it took a while to recover
Oh,
from that.
well, I think the fella what pulled the pieces and that, they built a small one, just boarded her in.
Oh, I see.
And then used the rest of the lumber, what was no good for firewood, you know.
Oh, yes, I see. Mm-hmm.
But they'd never done nothing with it since. Then they put up this curling rink, the big bugs,
Oh, yes.
you see.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
making a go of that.
Yeah, they're making a go of that.
Yeah.
Was there any volunteer labor on that, too?
Oh, I couldn't say.
No.
No,
That
I
is
didn't
that is
know
past
what
your
it-
time for doing that kind of work. Well, it's been a great pleasure to come into your home, Mr. and Mrs. Burling. Was there any other thing that you can think of, Mrs. Burling?
No, I don't know if there is.
Well, I appreciate very much coming into your home and having an interview with you. And we hope to see you again sometime. And if there's anything else that you think of, stories about the early days, why we'd be glad to
Sure.
hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks very much.
Captain Fitzsimmons and Mr. Phillimore, Reverend Phillimore, who was the Anglican vicar at Nakusp.
Fleming Recordings, Nelson speaking. And I'm speaking from the home of Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Harvey of Nakusp with their daughter Nellie. And I will interview Mr. Harvey first to find out where he was born and how he come to this country. Mr. Harvey, where were you born?
I was born in the county of Essex.
County of Essex? On a farm or in a town?
No, yes, not on a farm exactly, but my father worked on a farm.
I see. Uh-huh. It was more or less in the country.
Yes, yeah, way in the country.
Way in the country, eh?
Yes.
Well, you're...
You want to know the
you're-
name of the town? Or?
Yes, I might as well.
Well, it was within 3 miles of Billericay Essex.
I see.
I have a grandfather clock in my house
Mm-hmm.
right today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have been told it was nearly 300 years old.
Well, I wouldn't
I
wonder.
can't prove that. There it is, stands
Oh, yeah.
right there.
I wouldn't wonder.
It was given to me by my grandmother, and I can account for it myself
Mm-hmm.
for over 100 years.
Is that so?
And it was an old clock when it was given to me.
Well, I see. Well, that's fine. Well, now, what year were you born?
I was born January the 18th, 1877. Therefore, I was 84 years of age last January.
Last January, I see. And how old were you when you came to Canada?
Well, now you got me. You got to
Oh.
take 48 from 84.
48 from 84. Well, I'll let the audience figure that out. Well, we got a school teacher here. Well, how about having her tell me? Yes. Well, that's something like 37 years old, it seems to me.
Oh,
But just as a guess, it wouldn't be that old, eh?
I guess it would be less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Well, what brought you to Canada? What was the reason for you coming to
Well,
Canada?
in fact, my wife's brother lived in Nakusp, and you know, we
And what
got
was his name?
Mr. Mole.
Mr. Mole. Alfred Mole, eh?
No, not Alfred.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Alfred Mole.
yeah,
You're forgetting your relatives here.
yeah.
Well, and that, and he persuaded you that this was a
No.
pretty good country to come to?
No, not exactly persuaded, but well, we got talking things over, and that's all there was to it.
Yeah, I see.
We come.
You'll come. Well, we like to know what brings people to this country in the beginning, and what trade did you follow, or what did you do when you come here?
I worked on the railway.
On the railway.
Yeah.
I see. And what did you do on the railway?
Well, I done 3 or 4 different jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the jobs I was a railway fireman.
Oh, yes. I see. Well, now that brings you to Nakusp, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I came down past Nakusp with my parents in 1897. That is a little ahead of... what year was that you came here?
I arrived in Nakusp on the 24th of May, 1913.
1913. Well, now the 24th of May we arrived in Nelson, 1897. So there's a coincidence there. Now, Mrs. Harvey, where were you born?
I was born in Prittlewell, Essex.
Essex.
England,
I see.
yes.
Uh-huh. And were you married before you came to Nelson? At least in Nakusp?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I had 3 children.
You had 3 children. I see. And well then, and what were their names?
Well, Florrie
Mm-hmm.
and Nellie
Mm-hmm.
and Tommy
And Tommy.
and,
No.
those 3, that's it.
Yeah,
That was the 3 that came
Yes.
from the old country.
Yeah.
And you've had, since that, you've had
One,
one
daughter.
Doris,
Yes.
daughter Doris,
born in Canada.
born in Canada. And where do they live now?
Oh, Laurie lives in North Vancouver,
Oh, yes,
and Nellie lives at home,
yes.
and Tommy lives in Trial,
Mm-hmm.
and my, well, that's all the 3 there was, isn't it?
Yes, and Doris lives in Nakusp. Yes, I see. Well, that's nice. What occupation did you have before you had you trained for any occupation before you were married?
Well, I was a parlour maid
A parlour maid.
in
Oh,
a
yes.
gentleman's house.
Oh, yes, I see. Uh-huh. Well, that's fine. Now, and then you came directly to Nakusp.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine. Well, now Nellie, you tell me when you were born.
Oh!
Is that a secret?
No, that's a $64 question.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm short of $64.
Well, never to ask me. If I knew, I'd tell you.
I was born in Shoeburyness, Essex, England, on November the 19th, 1904.
Oh, I see. 1904. Well, I was born in November too, so we're, I don't know whether we're under the same, I was born in November the 28th, so I guess we're in the other sign of the zodiac. Well, that's fine, that's close enough to be friends anyway. And what occupation have you followed?
Oh, I have done drugstore work. And I was with the VC Telephone Company for 15 years.
Oh, yes.
But the last few years I've stayed at home looking after my mother and dad.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, our oldest daughter spent some time in the telephone office in Nelson, too.
Well, I was in this
she was a nurse.
office.
She trained for a nurse, of course, afterwards. Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine. Well, now... where do we go from here now? You can tell me about the conditions that you found when you come here. Was this part of the world up to your expectations?
Well, I tell you the truth, I wasn't looking for anything particular. I just thought, well, I'm going there, I'll have to take what I can get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I arrived here on the 24th of May, as I said,
Mm-hmm.
and that was toward the end of the week, but I was only here 2 days before I went to work.
I see. Was that because you were a good rustler? Or
No, because my wife's brother was working at the sawmill,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore I got a job right away.
Yes, I see. Oh, that's fine.
But I left my wife and 3 children in England,
Oh, yes, I
and
see.
I came out by myself.
Oh, I see.
And all that money it cost for fare from England to Nakusp was £9.10.
£9.10.
Yeah.
Well,
I was here,
well, that's pretty cheap, isn't it?
and I was here till September by myself, and between us
Mm-hmm.
we got the money, so my wife and 3 children was here in September. That
I
I
see.
can't tell you. September the 4th.
September the 4th.
Yeah.
How did you travel? Did you come around by the Panama or
Now we come right
right
across
across Canada
Canada.
from Montreal or one
Yeah,
of those places?
in them wooden cars and nowhere to sleep or anything.
I see.
Immigration or whatever they called it. Then no, it was settlers. Settlers.
Yes, who is it? Somebody, I forget now who it was, that was telling me, I think it was, I forget. Somebody said that they had traveled and it only cost them really a small amount. I don't think you'd get very far for that amount of money nowadays, would you?
No, sir, you would not.
Was that a special rate or was that the regular rate?
It was settlers, what they call settlers rate. They was, trying to get people to come to Canada then.
Yes, I see. Well, that'd be the reason.
And of course, you see, when I first came here, it was, the work was all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the First World War, see, that made, it was in August, I think, 1914.
That's right.
Well, excuse me.
Certainly.
That, of course, that made things bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, the Depression.
Yes, I see.
So
Mhm.
I can tell you for quite a number of years that all of us, had a tough time,
Mhm.
but we was never hungry.
Well, that's just what Mr. Kroll said, that there wasn't much doing, and you shared things
Yeah.
among one with the other.
Yeah, and I had from during the Depression, there was the wife and the 3 kids, and we had $17.20 a month to live on.
That's so. Well,
I was working.
Well, yes, working, but working for nothing.
$3 a month.
35.
No,
35.
days I wasn't on it. Not those days.
well.
I was working for the telephone company.
Well, that'll be fine, Nellie. Would you, when you speak up about any of these things, I think they're very interesting. Would you speak louder so that we'll be able to catch it on the microphone? Well, that's quite interesting. How did you find the conditions? Now, you're Mrs. Harvey. How did you find the conditions working under such a limited amount of money coming in?
Well, I made the best of it. I kept smiling.
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
Well,
I was always
you
pretty
couldn't run the
useful.
house. You couldn't run the house on those figures right now,
Not
could you?
today, no.
No.
Well, we only lived in shacks anyway.
Yeah, I see. Uh-huh. And were there very many people around here at that time?
Oh, how many were? I don't think that.
Well,
No.
if you want to, Nakusp, Glen Bank, there was a population of 420.
Is that so?
Well, that was what I'd been told.
Yes.
Now it's in the neighborhood of 1,500.
Yes, I see. Well, that's good information. And what was the principal occupation at that time here?
So
Yes, sawmill
shipyard.
And shipyard.
and shipyard.
Yes, I see. Of course, it was more.
Logging, you know, logging.
Yes, there was the traffic up and down the lake. Of course, if you
Oh,
had,
2 boats a day.
2 boats a day,
3 in the summer.
and 3 in the
With the
summer.
Bonington on, yes.
Bonington.
Uh-huh. And they'd be coming and going.
Yes,
About
one
the-
up and one down every day,
One up and one down every day.
except Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody used to run down to the boats, you see, to meet the boat.
Yes, that was
It
in
was a
the,
pleasure to see all the passengers.
yes, we used to do that in Nelson too. That was the usual thing in the evening. People would stroll down to the wharf to see the boat come in.
Yeah.
And as I've said before, it must have been quite interesting for the people that are coming in on the boats to see so many people
Oh, it
down
used to
there.
be wonderful.
Yes.
Yes, a wonderful sight.
And it looked like a huge welcoming committee.
Yes.
But there was no picture shows. There were no picture shows or anything else to take the people's attention at that time.
In latter years, there was the silent picture,
Yes.
and then eventually we had a moving picture, and I
Yes.
used to run the picture show for Mr. Dowsley.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. and
Well.
Take care of the wicket and,
Oh, I see.
and the reports
Uh-huh.
for
Well,
quite some time.
yes.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good.
So we had very good shows then.
Hmm. And well, now,
But we always had lots of fun in the olden days. We used to have wonderful parties and dances, and
yes, we made our
Horse
own fun, didn't
drives.
we?
we did.
Oh, we
Yes.
did.
We had wonderful
Sleigh riding.
times. Sleigh riding.
And we were not spectators in those days. We were active
and
participants
friendly.
in all these things.
We were just like one big family
Yes.
sort of thing.
We
Yeah.
used to live right down against the wharf.
That's all.
Yes, we'd see the Bonington come in there, you know, in the summertime with all the passengers on, and the decks was just loaded.
Hmm.
2 decks and You know, you could see all and the ladies and all dressed in white and all. Yeah, we used to live right against the wall.
A little while ago, early in this series, I read quite a large article in installments on the early boats around these lakes, you know, and it was very interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
were very much interested in
Yes. We
different-
miss our boats very much, I
Yes,
will
we-
admit.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Well, now, did you ever have any? How were you for sports or hobbies, or did you do any hunting or
No, no fishing,
no fishing?
no hunting,
No,
Oh, I see.
sportsman, no.
and I never went in for any sport.
What did you do in your off times? Gardening or anything?
Gardening and saw wood on the beach.
Oh, if we wanted to find you, you'd find you down on the beach.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. Well, I see you got a good old queen heater there. Yeah.
I worked in the sawmill down here for 22 years.
Oh yes, I see. Uh-huh.
Fireman and engineer.
Fireman and engineer. Well, do you remember some of the personalities of the early days? Can you tell me some of the people who used to work with you or who were living here around that time? The early ones. Yoder?
Mr. Yoder.
For
Yes, I
Clark.
remember that
Mr.
name.
Yoder in the pole yard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was Mr. Giroux.
Oh, he's there.
I know, but he
No,
was an early
uh,
one.
It's not the ones I want that are living now, particularly.
No,
It's
this man.
the ones that were
Yeah.
here at the, in the early days.
Oh, them two are gone.
Yes.
You understand
Well, that doesn't
Well,
matter.
that doesn't matter. It's
Well,
just the
George-
people.
Mr.
George
Giroux.
Drew,
Yeah, girl.
Archie Herridge, and he worked down there. Jack Kerr
Mm-hmm.
and Henry Alton and Alec Giroux.
Oh yes. And what about the Mr. Islip and parent? Were they here?
Yeah.
Well, he was
early?
in business.
Oh, they was here, but Mr. Islip was in Brighton at this time,
Oh yes.
but he moved to Nakusp soon after we came here.
Oh yes. I see.
And he owns the store.
Grocery store. He owned a grocery store for
He
years.
owned a grocery store. He owns the telephone office, and he owns the drugstore.
Oh yes.
As far as I know, you
Yes,
know,
sure.
I
Well,
don't
he
know.
does. He does.
But he
He
did
owns
do.
that
I don't
corner.
know whether he sold any of them. That's
And Mr. Joe Parent that you mentioned, what was his occupation? And,
Oh, he's always working in the lumber,
The lumber.
lumbering all his life,
yes, I see.
as far as I know.
Mm-hmm. Now, go ahead.
Well, when them days, when a person, or we did, I don't know whether anybody did, you could bring a lot of stuff, settlers effects.
Oh yes.
You see?
Sure.
I got a table there,
Mm-hmm.
and that belonged to my grandmother.
Oh yes.
And I can guarantee that it's way over 100 years old.
Yes.
There's my wife's, that's my photo, and that's my wife. They're both oil paintings,
Oh yes.
and they was both taken before we was married. That's 60 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
over 60 years
Yeah.
ago,
Sure.
and I brought them from England.
Yeah.
I brought 2 feather beds from England. One weighed 60 pounds, and that clock, we filled that all up with dishes and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
We brought when we did start housekeeping, well, we had a few boxes, and put some bed on them, and we had a few
You made
things.
made use of the boxes for housekeeping.
No, we had to
furniture.
get a few boxes to put the bed on.
Oh yeah, I
See?
Oh yeah.
We didn't have any money to buy any furniture.
I see. Well, those were hardy days, and I'll bet they were happy days too.
Well,
Oh, yes, we didn't.
we didn't mind, but
We made the best of it.
we was here,
Yes.
and the way if a good many more that came to Canada, they lots of them come here. They think they can pick money up in the street, but you can't do it.
No.
When you come here from England or anywhere, you've got to think, well, I've got to take what I can get till 6 times as I can better myself. You see, when I came here, I went to work in the lumber yard and that, and then I got so I done time in fire. I'd had experience in the whole country, and then I wrote for the engineers' papers. You see, and if everybody'd look at it in that light, they'd get along.
Yes. If you can't always get what you are trained for, do something else
Yeah,
until the opportunity comes
that's
along.
right. But I always said, when I left the old country, no more railways for me.
Oh, I see. So you did most of your work on stationery.
Oh, yes.
No,
Engineer.
in this
Stationary,
country.
Yeah.
yes.
In this country,
Yeah, in
yes.
this country. Yeah.
Yes.
I see. Why didn't you like the railway?
Oh, I don't know. Too much work and not enough money.
I see. Uh-huh. Well, you were able to stay home a lot more on a stationary.
Well, that
job.
wasn't much either, but I worked firing on a railway engine 10 hours for $1 a day.
Oh yes.
So
That's in the old country.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Equipment.
$1 a day was,
Mhm.
you know, that was when the pound was 4.86.
Yes.
Not same as it is now.
No. Well, of course, $1 a day even was a going wage even out in this country.
Yeah.
That in the early days, and of course it didn't stay there. But it started there in a good many things.
Yeah, but then again, you see, that is one thing that is a little above the average. You've got to work to get to that.
Yes, that's right.
You understand
Oh, I see.
what I
Yes,
mean?
sure. As a skilled man, skilled trade.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Harvey, you were speaking a few minutes ago about how difficult it was to make do on your housekeeping money. Now, how much housekeeping money did you have, and how did you make it go around?
Well, I never had the same amount any month.
I see.
But when he was working on the dredge, I got $45 a month, myself and 3 children.
Oh, I see.
And then pay rent and coal, and
You
I
didn't-
didn't get coal, no wood.
Well, what would the rent be about that time?
Oh, about $6 a month.
I see. You weren't in your present house, of course.
Oh, no.
No,
This
no.
house belongs to my son-in-law.
Yes, I see. Well, then what did you spend this money on, or how did you divide it out? How much would your food cost?
Well, it varied. You see, I had to skimp and make it do the best I could. So much for groceries and so much for meat. And when we couldn't get any meat, we went without.
Yes, I see.
We never charged it up.
And how much would the meat cost per pound, and
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I know you could get a nice roast for Sunday for 50 cents.
Yeah.
Last 2 days
Uh-huh.
for the whole family.
Yes, I see. And you're mentioning something about a soup bone.
Then he said we'd buy a 15-cent soup bone
Uh-huh.
and make a couple of meals out of that.
And those days they didn't trim the soup bone too closely.
Oh no, there's quite a bit of meat on the bone those days.
Well, it was quite a problem, of course, with I suppose the family just had as great an appetite as the usual Western boy or girl.
Yes, we all seemed to have plenty. We always seemed to be happy enough.
Mm-hmm.
We always had a dollar.
And you
And
always
I
make your
always
own
had
bread
a
and
dollar.
everything.
Oh yes, make our own bread, chop my own wood.
And what did you do for amusements around that time?
Oh, we'd go to whist drives, or we'd work for the Red Cross. I was secretary for the Red Cross for the First World War.
Yes, I see.
And then I worked for the church, the Anglican Church.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go out and help anybody with the housework if they wanted, or do the washing for them.
I see.
We've also been members of the Pythian Sister Order for 40 years.
Oh, yes.
We received our 40th pin
Well,
last December.
That's something, too. That
We're very proud of that.
Yes, I should say. There will be people that will find that interesting, too.
Yes, very.
And, well, now you seem to be, Mr. Harvey, you seem to think quite a bit about this anniversary, that you've passed the 59th anniversary. And you can't, the 60th can't come too soon? Is that the idea?
No, I ain't worrying about that.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I see.
But we had our 59th on the 17th of March, in St. Patrick's Day. And we was married in England, Southall in Middlesex.
Oh, yes.
And an Irishman married us, and he at Trinity Church, and he married us, and he said to me, "Are you Irish?" I said, "No, but you are. I can tell by your brogue."
Yeah, I see. And
now then,
and that is 59 years ago.
that was 59 years ago.
Well, we'll.
And I've never been sorry for it.
Oh, you haven't, eh?
No.
Oh, haven't there been a little, one or two times that you've had a little bit of a reason for it?
No. We got along all right because
sure.
we've had lots of arguments.
Well, sure, that's...
Still keeping them up.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. We have our little differences too. But...
Who doesn't?
Somehow they get over. You know, I have a very strong suspicion about these people that say they never have had a fight, and never have had an argument. I can't quite understand that. Of course, I have Irish antecedents too, you see, and there's nothing an Irishman likes is a good fight once in a while.
No, but fight. I don't agree with that quite.
No.
A fight and an argument is two different things altogether. But a fight's a fight, and an argument's an argument.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way I look at that. But
well, I want to thank you people very, very much for allowing me to come into your home and have this interview.
You're quite welcome.
Well,
Enjoyed having you.
oh, that's just fine.
I think we've been so good as some people would give you.
Well, you've got nothing to worry about. And, you know, when I come up to the home of somebody I've never met before, I sometimes wonder what reception I'll have, because I might be selling some household article that you don't want. But I'm happy to say that this kind of a program, there's nothing to pay and nothing to buy. So we're just having a good time interviewing the people who were here in the early days. and getting a story and getting an idea of what the conditions were when they came. And we appreciate very much coming into your home, and I'm sure that, and I know that the listeners to this program of Tales of the Kootenays is very interested in these very live interviews that we have. They're genuine, and they appreciate it very much. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to come into your home and accept your hospitality.
You're quite welcome. We're pleased to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.